Welcome, everybody. I'm Alice Alicia Jones, and this is the presentation of the sixth master of the Great Race, Lady Nada. And we will start her presentation, but what I'd like to do is I'd like to say our prayer of connection first. Um, I think probably whoever was meant to come in is in. And so, very gently close your eyes, take a deep breath in, exhale. Dear Mother, Father, God, divine, infinite spirit, source of all that is, I ask to be connected to you, to my higher self, and to the higher self of the angels, the archangels, the ascended masters, the Reiki masters, but most especially Master Jesus, Master Buddha, Master Katumi, Saint Francis, Saint Germain, Saint Gabriel, Saint Raphael, Saint Michael, the Blessed Mother, the Divine Feminine, Mary Magdalene, Moses, Metatron, Melchizedek, Kuan Yin, and Ta. I ask that we be cleared, centered, aligned, balanced, and grounded, and that whatever comes in for each of us comes in for our highest good. I also ask to be a clear channel of light for Metatron and his healing angels so that we each receive the highest vibrations of light possible. Also ask for the assistance of the great rays, the lords and masters of the rays, and the archangels of the rays. And finally, for the shield and sword of Saint Michael the archangel to protect our energy field above, below, side to side, front to back, inside and outside, so that only the highest beings of light be allowed to enter. I ask all of this in the name of Jesus the Christ and in the name of I am. Okay, we have Lady Nada, who is the master of the sixth ray, but her special title in this presentation is a, a minister of service. And her initiation, I thought, belonged in the heart. That's not what's happening. She moves into the solar plexus, and you'll see as you listen to her characteristics and her qualities, how her her virtues, all her issues, all her qualities are tied to the solar plexus. They come from the heart, but they're tied to the solar plexus. Okay. Her etheric retreat, as I had mentioned earlier, she has two. She's the only one who has two. Is first in Saudi Arabia, and it doesn't say where in Saudi Arabia, but she said she works in conjunction with Christ. But the second one is here in New Bedford, Massachusetts, which I thought was really interesting. I don't know Massachusetts well enough to know where New Bedford is, but New Bedford must be a very special place to be chosen to be one of the etheric retreats of the ascended masters. Her particular vibration is purple and metallic gold in combination with ruby. Most of the time, if you see a color around her, the color that I see is rose, very, very close to what Barb is wearing, except Barb is probably a little more on the salmon side. She is, if when I see her in my mind's eye, if she comes into a reading or a healing, it's always rose, and it's kind of like a medium rose, not dark, not light, but medium. Her gemstone is topaz, ruby, alexandrite, diamond with pearl. And her particular qualities are peace, service, brotherhood. And she brings all kinds of gifts. The most interesting, she brings the gift of tongues. And so far, I have only heard one person present. She was one of my former Reiki students, and she would kind of send me an email like once a year. And then when she mentioned that she had just been given the gift of tongues, I said, "Oh wow, would you be willing to speak to Rays of Healing?" And she did. She came, and I know it's a language. It has a special name to it. I don't know what that name is. If anybody does know, if you put it in the chat, um, we can access that later, because there is a special word for the gift of tongues. And her past lives, she didn't have many. She had, but the ones she had all centered on the same thing. The one she had that was probably the most important, which, if any of you are connected to Atlantis, she was a priestess in the Temple of Love, and which in Atlantis was designed after the pattern of a rose. So that must have been an interesting, very interesting looking temple. Um, in other lifetimes, Elizabeth Clare Prophet doesn't specify exactly what lifetimes these were, but she said she was known as a lawyer opposing those who were the spoilers of the earth. But more importantly, she was a lawyer defending the poor. She always, and the downtrodden, those who felt defenseless, those who had no one else to fight for them. She was their advocate. And then in her final incarnation, 2,700 years ago. So this would not have been Atlantis, but again, Elizabeth Clare Prophet doesn't say where. Um, she was the youngest of a group of gifted children, and Archangel Charity was the main guy. It says he appeared to her and taught her how to draw on God's love within her own heart. That God's love, uh, I've mentioned this in other readings, exists as a threefold flame. It's like the fleur de lis in the French symbol. It exists as a threefold flame inside your heart. You can diminish it, but you can't extinguish it. No matter what role you chose on this planet, you know, no matter how heinous, how awful, god awful the role was, you cannot extinguish your connection to God. If your role was too awful on this planet, you might find yourself being put to sleep when you go into spirit. My understanding is some of those who were especially barbaric in their lifetimes have been put to sleep for 1,000 years, so that they are not allowed to do anything else, to come back to the planet, to do any kind of learning. Their soul needed to rest, to recuperate from what it was that it engaged in. So I felt that was kind of interesting. Um, so she was taught how to draw God's love. And I have another great story about drawing on God's love. Um, I'll tell it at the end if there's time, because it perfectly illustrates this. and she would radiate God's love from her heart to anything else that she wanted to affect. And she also radiated it to the nature kingdom. So it wasn't only, from person to person, it was also from person to plant. And so that was kind of interesting. And she said she constantly worked to increase the threefold flame in her brothers and sisters. As Lord of the sixth ray, she assists ministers, missionaries, healers, teachers, psychologists, counselors, professors of law, professional people, government workers, health workers, skilled and unskilled blue collar workers, defenders of freedom, revolutionaries of love in every single field. And she teaches the principles and practices of sacred labor with tenderness and compassion as the particular means to ascension. This is important. She sponsors the world's children, the youth, in an answer to their cries of anguish. You can imagine now, because yesterday, I can't remember what the statistic was of how many orphans there are now in Gaza and in Israel because of the succeeding the military actions, but I know it's in the hundreds. It could be approaching the thousands. Orphans that have lost both parents and hopefully have been picked up by a relative, but that's not always the case. Okay. She teaches and she comes in response to any request to help her. She comes usually clad in pink and a rose pink, and many times she's also accompanied by Mother Mary. If I see them together, Mother Mary's always in blue. She's always in that beautiful deep rose. So it is, and obviously she's an aspect of the divine feminine. And I have a wonderful story that I wanted to share with Lady Nada about Lady Nada that this was part of my personal experience. Um, I don't know. I know Barb lives in Florida, so she's probably aware of the greyhound races that they use there, and or that I guess they race greyhounds, and they race them so fiercely and so often that after 4 years, they're done. They, can't race them anymore. They race them to the point of exhaustion. So after 4 years, they're put out for adoption, and then people from around the world, will adopt them. And one of my former Reiki students adopted one, and uh, she named, I know it was a him. She named him Willow, and she knew he had a limited life expectancy, and she knew if she got 4 years more from him, that would be about all she could expect. And so, because they usually succumb to some type of cancer. And so the when she recognized that he was failing, she brought him to me at Sacred Circle. And fortunately, they were very pet friendly. So they let Willow come upstairs. I attuned him as a Reiki master. And I, because what she had done with Willow is she had turned him into a therapy dog. And she knew that he had a very limited life expectancy, but she felt for the time of the rest of his life, she wanted to accompany him to hospitals as a therapy dog. And so she talked about how one young man, uh, around age 21, was so bitter and so you know just absolutely didn't want to have anything to do with talking to anybody. So she and Willow would come in, and every single time she came in with Willow, Willow would inch up a little bit closer, a little bit closer, a little bit closer. Finally, at the end, she was like face to face with him, and he started to communicate. So that was a miracle on her end. After I attuned him, I've heard from her that he passed that night into spirit. And that night, I had a dream that he was with Lady Nada, and he was in a nursery. And because she was her special gift at that time, what I saw her doing was taking care of the infants that had come in, that had passed, crossed over, and you know, the babies, the infants, the preemies, the maybe the ones who had been aborted, the souls who had been aborted. So she was taking care of that, and he was assisting her. And I saw the two of them. Well, my Reiki student absolutely, her jaw just dropped because she had never told me Willow was com- very fond of babies. He would always, if they went for a walk and there was a baby, even if it was across the street, he would kind of pull her over to go say hi to that baby. And even though he was a big dog, he was just a gentle, very gentle thing. So anyway, she felt that that was so perfect for him, a perfect job for him to do in spirit. And I was I felt very blessed because I was part of his crossing over and taking him to a new level. But anyway, uh, okay, so she has a motto, and she says her motto is "I serve." And she uses the word service, and she spells it out. She uses is it as an acronym: the S, sacred; E, energy; R, ray, then of; V, victory; I, in; C, consciousness; and then E, energy. So she also, along with the Order of St. Francis, she sponsored the Poor Clares. The Poor Clares were the feminine part of the monks that were aligned with St. Francis. Um, like I had said earlier, she has the gift of tongues, and she facilitates understanding between diplomats, because every diplomat, like let's say at the UN, has his own earphones on so that whatever is being said by another diplomat in another language, he can hear it translated in his own language. But she works with that. And so she is promoting diplomacy. She's promoting getting along with your neighbors. She's promoting mastery of speech, communication, and delivery of the word of God. So, and this was something that I had totally forgotten because I had presented this so long ago. Um, she also is a member of the karmic board. The karmic board is the group of three beings that you face when you transition and you are given uh, like a movie screen of your life, and you are shown choice points, points where you could have made different choices, and the outcome of what would have happened had you made those choices. So I thought that was kind of interesting because there's three members on the karmic board, and she brings obviously a lot of love and kindness to the karmic board. I've never really seen them. I just only had a sense of them. Um, okay, let's see. Now, this is important. She demonstrates the use of the solar plexus for the release of the power of peace through the seven chakras. 85% of the people of this world live in the first three chakras. So, from the third chakra, that's the center of personal will. She helps people understand that they can achieve peace through their in the world, but it has to come first from within. Has to come as uh, a sensation that is completely personal before we can expect it to happen on the outside. And let's see what else. Now, I don't know how she does this, but it says she helps to transmute the karma of the planet and to lessen world tensions. And boy, do we need her energies right now because the world tensions are just um, incredible. But I, the sense I have is that absolutely no one wants a world war, a third world war. And it doesn't matter what's being predicted. It doesn't matter what the chaos is. Um, no one is rushing and saying, oh, yes, I align with you. Oh, yes, I'm your ally. So therefore, I will. And oh, yes, you've been damaged. So I will do this for you. Okay. Her, the next portion from Elizabeth Clare Prophet's book, the Lords of the Rays, and that she did with her husband, but is her advice, counsel, and pleadings to humanity, because she does plead. And she says to commend oneself into the arms of the Holy Spirit. And she says, and I think I'm going to cover this in January because I don't speak in December, but she says that the initiates of Christhood learn to translate the 9 gifts of the Holy Spirit into the 9 steps of alchemy for the building of the temple of love. And Elizabeth Bava, I think it was within 2 months, within the last 2 months, gave us a wonderful speech on alchemy and how we are our own alchemists. We transmute stuff every single time we enter and neutralize any type of fear and its minions, which are rage, hatred, anything like that that's related to fear. Because according to A Course in Miracles, there are only 2 emotions on the planet: love and fear. Everything that doesn't come from love comes from fear. Everything. So anyway, she, let's see, she says to let our central flame reveal the formula to bless life, to heal life, and to increase wisdom for you. That's you yourself working with your own transfer, the flame within you. She pleads for mothers and fathers to instill love, virtue, and to teach their children how to pray. I'm all for this, but I'm not for prejudice. And I'm not for anybody stating, if you don't believe the way I believe, I have the right to kill you. Neither am I for anybody stating, if you don't believe the way I believe, you're condemned to hell. I mean, to me, that is absolute, utter nonsense. And so this is why I have an issue with certain people who profess to have the answers for everything, but, just, I think, go in a little bit of the wrong direction. Um, she's very adamant that each child learn to pray themselves or at least have somebody praying for them. She asks, and I feel this is so, so critical because this is showing up in so many of the readings that I'm giving and counseling sessions that I'm giving to my clients. She asks that we teach our children self worth. There are so many, and I have many more female clients than I have male clients. So I'm going to use the word females that come, and that as you continue to dig and dig and dig and dig, you recognize their self worth is on the ground. They have none. For whatever reason, they just are blaming themselves for issues that should never be even cross their mind, that that they should blame themselves. And that can go to males as well. That does not, it's not an exclusive territory of just females. So uh let's see, I like people who can get along with themselves, are happy with themselves, and can entertain themselves, can even laugh at their own mistakes, their own jokes, and not take themselves so seriously. And I loved that because I thought, yeah, I'm one of those. I have a tendency to take myself absolutely too seriously. So I have to stop at times and realize, don't do it. Don't get caught up in another person's foibles or another person's distresses that are designed to, or are being ladled on you as in order to distress you. Just kind of stand back and be a witness to it. Take a neutral stance. Do not get suckered into that emotion that causes you to feel bad about yourself because of some transgression that may have happened 60 years ago. Don't do it. It's not worth it, you know. So, anyway, um, she explains to the people on this planet that we have a subconscious mechanism to fail, to inflict self punishment, and to prove that we are not worthy. And I know in my Catholic faith, um, they baptize you and they say, into sin, you were born with original sin. And when you have the ashes put on your forehead on Ash Wednesday, they will say something to the effect of, uh, from dust you came, into dust you shall return. No, that's the body. And spirit has an opportunity to occupy as many bodies as it chooses, from as many dimensions as it chooses, from as many universes as it chooses. So um, don't feel that whatever you have been programmed to believe, that you have to stick with that belief. You do not. Um, let's see. She says, our lineage becomes one of identifying and propagating anti love and anti self, but the soul retains the image of being perfect. It's like every baby that you see, when they smile at you, and I've seen babies, they say it's just gas. I don't believe that. I've seen babies smile from the crib the day they were born. My own daughter did it. Uh, and I know that that image that they hold of themselves is I am perfect. And throughout their babyhood, no matter what happens, they continue to emit that perfection through their smiles. Um, I mean, it's just magnificent. So try to get that image of yourself as being perfect from that moment of birth that you uh, can take yourself back to in consciousness. Okay. It says, use this. Okay. Her next point, use the same resolve a child uses for self mastery as when they take their first steps. Determine yourself to perfect your own skills, starting on a new path, and move from one set of skills to another by practicing. And I was listening to Bashar yesterday. Bashar is the being that Daryl Anka has been channeling for between 30 and 40 years. And he said, whenever you say, I feel bad, you're halfway there. You're saying, I feel bad, or I feel fear, or I feel doubt, or I feel angry. You're completing half the circuit. So, what he said is to complete the whole circuit, to rewire your brain, say this: I feel bad because I believe I have to feel bad, because I feel fear, because I feel I have to feel fear. I feel self doubt because I have been conditioned to feel self doubt. As soon as you do that, because I believe, and you repeat what that feeling is, you're completing a circuit that is going to allow you to rewire your brain, allow you to come in and put in, and he says, amazingly enough, the next time that thought comes through your head, I feel bad, it's going to have less impact. It's not going to have that same negative impact on you. And I listened to his presentation. It was about 17 minutes, maybe 4 times. I really wanted to cement it into my head. And so he said, the same way you use the negative, use the positive. I feel great because I just feel that the day is wonderful. What again, I feel great because I just had a fantastic meal. I feel great because I believe that I have every tool I need to keep myself feeling great? Again, saying that over and over and over, getting rid of the lessening the impact of the negative, reinforcing the positive can do wonderful things for you. Um, I thought I've heard many bits of advice. I never heard it stated quite that way. Okay, so anyway, I hope that that helps some of you, with the programming that you've gone through, um, especially if you've had pain inflicted on you, and if you've had your, whatever sorrow came into your life was because of another person. So anyway. All right. She says she reminds us that she works with us daily on the inner levels, along with the archangels, and they have for thousands and thousands of years. And she reminds us that everything moves in a cycle. And when I read those words, everything moves in a cycle, I thought of the four seasons. We always have, at least in Virginia, we're very fortunate because we have the four seasons. We're not that close to the equator that it's always warm. And so the only thing we might have is extra rain or something like that, or hurricanes. We're in the path of hurricanes. We have four seasons, and every season has its own special glory. Every season has its own special magic. So just the um, remember that if that you don't have to run at a pace that is exhausting forever. You can give yourself the ability to relax, to rest, and just as you give yourself the ability to go to bed at night. And those of you who are burning the candle at both ends, my son is one of them, goes to bed very late, gets up very early. Um, give yourself a break. Just give yourself a break. Just know that your body can rejuvenate better, faster, if you give it the right to rest. Okay. Um, this one I put an extra star next to it. She says, by keeping your mood elevated, elevated when all is not harmonious is a shining example of the sixth ray in action. And I kind of believe that on every level of my being because that is walking the neutral path. That is where Christ lived. He he did not side this way, he did not side that way. He walked down the center. That is you standing witness to parts of actions that are coming at you that aren't necessarily that your ego mind might uh, judge as not being beneficial to you. So, anyway, just try to be harmonious when the situation doesn't merit it. Okay. And the last thing that she said was, in the stillness of the heart is heard the heartbeat of God. In the stillness, you will be moved by the regular beat of the heart of God. By meditating on that heartbeat, you are meditating on your own being, your own life, which is God. For God and life are synonymous. Through the rhythm of self, you become one with the rhythm of God. And the last thing that I wrote down was a little prayer that I used to say every day, and somehow or other, I've gotten off the path of saying it, and this is a good example of me having to recall to to put it back into my lexicon. Um, it's it's the it starts with I am the soul. I am light divine. I am love. I am will. I am fixed design. Repeat 7 times. And I'll say it again. I am the soul. I am light divine. I am love. I am will. I am fixed design. And somebody once asked me, well, what does fixed design mean? And I said, sacred geometry. If you know nothing about sacred geometry, but are really curious about it, get the 2 books that Drunvalo Melchizedek wrote. He wrote it as one book, but had to separate it into 2 because it was too long. Each one is about 225 pages of nothing but sacred geometry, and it's called The Ancient Secrets of the Flower of Life. If you don't own it, you're on a spiritual path that absolutely belongs in your library. The Ancient Secrets of the Flower of Life. Okay, let's see. What I have next is meditation. This is not what I've done with any of the other classes, but for this one, it seemed appropriate. And I have a meditation. And it has because it's guided imagery meditation, and I will give you 10 minutes at the end to, uh, after the meditation, just to write out any images that might have come across your mind. And then I know there'll be time for sharing. So for anyone who wishes to share, I won't do my normal thing, which is to call on everybody. So anyway, but I'll let you just volunteer yours. And so this is Lady Nada's meditation. But if you don't have a paper and pencil close to you, I'll just give you 1 minute to go get one so that you have something to write on, or a notebook, a journal, loose leaf paper, whatever it is that you want to write on. Okay, good. I see Barb back. All right. We're going to start by very gently closing our eyes. And as you look at the energy field in front of you, see a crystalline grid forming. This has been known as the fabric of the universe, or the etheric fabric against which your body is formed. So see that crystalline grid, all evenly spaced. And that crystalline grid goes through you. Then see it bend and envelop you. and know that you are part of a giant ability to communicate with spirit through the crystalline grid. Every place there is an intersection in the grid, that's a communication point. And see those points light up like a Christmas tree. And those points are directly connected to your ability to receive messages, to see images, to feel sensations. And now look out in the distance and see Lady Nada in her beautiful rose attire coming towards you. And if for some reason you don't see her, you might see a rose-colored light or an image of roses or another member of the divine feminine. Anything is okay. And feel the deliciousness of that fragrance of roses. Feel the soft glow of the light. Feel the loving presence of the image of Lady Nada, other aspects of the divine feminine, or whatever shows up for you that makes you feel love. You are now going to meet the most important being in your life. Some aspect of your inner child. Look at that little being and invite that inner child to come forward. And now look for a time when you were hurting and you felt that no one cared. Or if they did care, it was not in a manner that nurtured you. And allow that little child to come and sit in your lap. And if an older child has appeared, or an adult version of yourself, then take their hand and lead them to a pretty bench where you can sit down next to each other. Now listen to what that child has to say to you and write it down. Or the teenager, or the adult. And allow the energies of Lady Nada and the divine feminine to nurture you during this exercise. And you have 10 minutes to write, and I will post that. And you'll hear, I'll let you know when 10 minutes is up. Okay, our 10 minutes is up. So I think I'm going to revert back to my normal way of doing things. So I'll just call on you for feedback. Um, and if somebody needs to leave faster, but we've got plenty of time. It's 1:06. Uh, so I think we'll I always know myself, I never wanted to volunteer to speak because I thought I didn't want to come across as a know-it-all. And so I think people have that kind of attitude inside their head. So that's why I always prefer to call on people. So I know, Chris, you were first in line. So I'm going to call on you first. So,
Well, the subject matter, the content is actually private, but the format, like when like both the child and the teenager came forth at different parts of me and different parts of my life, similar problems. Child sat down next to me, they sat and the teenager sat at the bench, and then they just started talking to each other and to me, and I started talking to them about the different things that I've discovered, and gave them a box of answers and a key. So that's kind of how this dialogue went. And
excellent.
yeah,
Excellent.
yeah, she's Lady Nada is very wonderful.
Well, put it this way, there's a lot of heart in her energy. And so I think that that's why, of all of these ascended masters, I didn't have a single um, nudge to do a meditation. But with her, that was extremely important. So and I think what you can do is continue this dialogue because
Mhm,
obviously this child and this teenager aren't done by any
mhm,
means in terms of needing to talk to you, needing to share whatever it is. So
mhm.
no, but I'm really grateful to hear that, Chris. I
Oh, thank
appreciate
you.
that. Thank you. Laura, how about you?
Um, I did see the light, and actually, I'm going through some things with a close family member right now where the family member is working through some things in therapy and feels the need to talk to me about things that happened many, many years ago. Um, and it's been very difficult. And basically, Lady Nada said to me, this is not your fault. What's happening now is not your fault. You didn't cause this, and what this other people is feeling, you are not responsible for the feelings that this other person has. So, I guess at some point, particularly as a parent, you need to hear that that as much as you try to fix life for yourself and your children, that you can't control everything, and that things don't work out well are not always things that you need to fix. So,
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
that's what that feels like, a real load
yeah,
has been burden that has been lifted off, which is
yes,
great.
yeah. I definitely saw, because I said, is there something that I should do? And she said, no, you did not cause this. You do not have to fix this. And I just felt like someone had just removed a boulder from my solar plexus.
Uh,
So, yeah,
Excellent. Wonderful. Wonderful. I'm always gratified to hear like that's a very visceral reaction.
yeah,
So I'm always gratified to hear that because that's we carry so many burdens in us going back, back, and uh, even I've had people tell me that they heard their parents speak during their conception and they knew they weren't wanted, or that the mother may have expressed an idea that expects a sex that is different from what the sex was that they came out as, and they already knew what sex they were. So it's amazing how what we can carry inside of us, and everything. So thank you for that. I really appreciate that. Elizabeth, how about you?
Yes, well, in the childhood experience, I got the message it was not my fault. And it was just the programmed family pattern that repeated itself, and that my actions were not my fault. It was just the family pattern that kicked in from the parents. And then in the teenage years, again, not my fault, but lack of understanding, not listening on the other's part. And so taking away any blame that I may have put on myself.
Excellent.
And early adulthood too, things that happened that were extremely painful, it was the other person, how they interpreted things and how I may have triggered them, I don't know, but how their fears, their huge fears, were the cause of what the hurt that I lived through. And then I also felt Mother Mary's presence,
Excellent.
but I also saw blue topaz light all around me. And it wasn't the same blue as Mother Mary's aquamarine blue. This was really a topaz blue. So I felt like I was in the topaz ray. So that's
Excellent.
what I got.
Yeah.
Thank you. It
That's
was
super.
very
And
healing.
yeah, that feels a little bit like St. Michael's energy, but not totally.
No,
You
no.
know, it has there's a certain water element to it.
Yes,
Like the first thing I thought of was Neptune. As soon as you said topaz, blue,
yes.
I the image of Neptune came into my
Interesting.
mind. So something to do with water.
Yes,
Yeah, and that is always spirit.
yes.
So that's great, Elizabeth. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Jane, how about you?
Okay, so I got the clarity of a child that I was so alone and uncertain. Teenager and even into early adulthood, I was trying things and making mistakes and learning from them. And the theme throughout the whole thing is helping. I've always been a helper, a teacher, a guide of everything. And I guess always was aware of divine guidance, like a hand between my shoulder blades going, nope, not that way, go the other way.
Mm,
Always. And the color pink was there, pink. And I got a feeling of pride for all the good things I did, and that I want to continue that. And not that I haven't made mistakes. And I tried to learn from them. But, having done this meditation, I'm feeling very good about myself.
great. That's the point. So that's fabulous. That's fabulous. Because we have a gazillion reasons to feel bad about ourselves. And very rarely do we allow ourselves to go into the realm of, yeah, I did this. and I feel good about it. So
Yeah.
that's fabulous.
I chased opportunities. My philosophy was, if I have an opportunity presented, I better make sure I don't want it, because it's not guaranteed to come back. So like I went to England for 2 years on a exchange program. When I got there, I was scared. But yeah, and I don't know where that came from. I think that's part of the divine guidance piece too.
Mhm.
Yeah, but yeah, I've been aware, very aware of a hand between my shoulder blades.
Kind of a steering.
Oh, absolutely.
Steer. That's the way I'm seeing it, like a a wheel being planted inside of you, and just giving you the right direction. That's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Hall.
So I've been working with my inner self a lot, and talking to her and listening to her, but I haven't let her write her grievances in a long time. So I just sat there and listened to her through the writing, and listened to her talk about, injustices, not feeling validated. There were several younger versions of myself involved in this. And I think that it was just the need to be heard and validated.
Excellent. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you, Hall. And Barb.
I have an old picture of myself where I look so sad. I was about 5 years old. So I chose to invite that child to come sit on my lap, and she knew to expect to see Lady Nada. So this is actually her speaking. Okay, it says, "Please don't hurt me." And then she realizes, "A friend of Jesus has come to help me. Please. Lady Nada, can you hear me?" And then I saw pink glitter. Lady Nada will be present when I'm hurt or scared. I'll know she's there when I see that pink glitter. I feel a tightening and my shoulders loosen. She has a gentle smile. She gives me approval when I do good or try hard. I'm no longer totally alone. She's there when I call her, like a fairy godmother. It only takes one person to show they care. It only takes one person you don't need to be afraid of. One person I don't need to defend myself. And that person wasn't present in my childhood, but I think this is being healed right now. There will be. I am experiencing unconditional love. It's a very unfamiliar feeling. Lady Nada gives me courage. Lady Nada appeared to me when I was 8, when I was hurt very badly. That was the first time. So that didn't happen for another couple of years. And Wanda channeled Lady Nada in my life. At one point, she said I was working with her in the lavender fields in France in the 1600s.
Wow.
But this is amazing. And the pain's gone away from my heart. So I know it's part of the healing is to feel that pain. It's gone now. Thank you very much. Wow, this is powerful.
Wonderful.
Mind blowing.
You got healing on multiple levels.
Yes.
Your inner child got healing, but you also got physical healing. So really amazing. Continue working with that.
I will.
You especially, Barb, you could do it day by day, literally.
Yes. Yes.
So really, really important. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. What?
Okay. All right, sweetheart.
Thank your higher self for bringing this up.
Yeah. Well, it's there. Thank you. All right, Teresa, how about you?
Hello, Alice. Thank you so much for doing this. So the energies that you're bringing us give us an opportunity, I think, to observe not only our own, what we identify as our past lives, but also for our ancestors, because there's so many levels, as you mentioned earlier, our personal levels, the ancestry levels, lineage levels. So this is really a nice way to kind of move through those, observe them, and then release what doesn't need to be there. And then if you observe your life as really one life lived in many different chapters, so there are really no past lives. It's all your life, one life now. It also gives you a different perspective on how to look at clearing yourself. So thank you.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a very important point. You know, it's all a giant now.
Correct.
There is no past, there is no, I mean, future. It's all
Right.
just now.
Right. And the importance, I think, of observing is that you can detach from it. You do not need to fall into the pain or fall into the trauma or relive anything. All you have to do is acknowledge that it occurred. If it's nothing that you want to have in your life, then you just release it. And that detachment frees you completely.
Correct. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful statement, Teresa. Thank you for that. Because that was kind of absolutely ties into what I had said earlier,
Exactly.
you know, with the shark too. So anyway, but thank you for that. All right, Yvonne. Yvonne, we can't hear you. You're still muted.
She's having a problem unmuting, I think.
Yeah, I see that.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. I feel like that commercial. Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, one of the funny things is that in preparation for today, I just kind of connected with her and I had this really important feeling like, you know, please do a meditation. We really need a meditation. And then you did one. So that was kind of cool. And I didn't stay so much in the guided, you know, meditation. I just felt like her presence was very nurturing and loving. But at the beginning, you know, when you were talking about seeing her like in the rose, I didn't see her. What I saw was a white horse come up and it had this beautiful dark pink um, in the shape of a heart. And that's what I saw.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so thank you, Alice. I'm really enjoying the whole series and was very much looking forward to today.
Wonderful.
Especially.
Wonderful. She's, I mean, she can be worked with on so many levels, you know, and however you see her is like when Barb was talking and I saw Neptune. I didn't see Lady Nada. I saw Neptune, you know, so I feel healing is healing. It doesn't matter how it comes in. It's just that you continue to do something towards healing. And you can't heal if you don't know what is.
You know, Alice, I've heard it said that Neptune is like a higher octave of Venus in terms of higher love. So I just thought I would share that since you saw Neptune.
Wow. You mean you're talking about the goddess Venus?
Yeah. Well, I'm talking about the, you know, the planet.
The planet.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. And I'm so glad you mentioned that because the PBS is doing a series on I think it's Nova rather than Nature. It's definitely Nova on the planets. So if you and you can stream anything on and it's all free. It's the world's biggest bargain out there. So anyway, and I don't think you have to be part of cable to get PBS. I don't think you do, you know, anyway. But
Hmm.
all right, so we are done for today, and next month, um, I can't remember. Maybe Donna, you can help me with this. When is when in December? No, it's November. Uh, November what that I'm presenting? Saint Germain. Donna knows everything. She knows how to keep me straight. So anyway, um, I it's going to be I think the first Saturday in the first Saturday in, but I'm not sure. But anyway, check your calendars, because that will be the Saint Germain is the master of the seventh ray, and the seventh ray he brought here the purple transformational flame, the what I see it as like a giant bonfire, a neon purple bonfire, and I probably use that in every healing I do, because I ask him to take away all the bits and pieces of negative energy that have been released, transform them into love, escort them to the next place of evolution. So I and Saint Germain was also known as the Wonderman of Europe, or Wunderkind of Europe, something like that, because he claimed he was on this planet for over 300 years, I think almost 350 years. And it was during the time of the French Revolution that he tried so desperately to get them to change their ways, because he already knew what was coming for them, that they were all going to lose their life through the guillotine. And they loved his miracles. He could take very inferior gemstones and make them into perfect gemstones, but none of them changed their ways. So they all ended up, marching to the guillotine. But anyway, lots of interesting history with him, and a lot of very special. I'm not sure, but I know one of these is 4 pages, so it could be Saint Germain. So I kind of have to distill it down and bring out the most important parts. So everybody, hopefully you can make that, and that will conclude the series of the Great Rays.
Alice, and
Yes.
hello everyone. I put it in the chat.
Uh-huh.
The Master of the Seventh Ray, Saint Germain, will be Monday, November 18th.
Oh, November 18th. Okay, so it's the middle of the month. Thank you. I absolutely couldn't remember and everything. So I appreciate that, Donna. And I will.
Can I ask a quick question before we leave, Lady Nada?
Sure.
Is she an aspect of Mary Magdalene?
She's part of the Divine Feminine. Mary
And-
Magdalene, Saint Bridget, the Blessed Mother, a lot of the goddesses, all part of the Divine Feminine. So yes.
Is there a Divine Feminine aspect that has a purple color that you know of?
Not that I know of, but light purple, dark purple.
It was just like a Barney colored purple, like Barney the dinosaur or something.
Okay.
Just like your primary, like, you have your basic set of crayons in school,
Right.
like that
Yeah.
purple.
Yeah, not that I know of.
Okay, because I saw the blue, I saw the pink, and I saw purple with.
Interesting.
So I was just curious. Thank you.
And interesting. Okay, you know what I'm getting right now, Hall?
What's that?
Is that you saw the 3 members of the karmic board.
Oh, okay.
So it could be because she's a member of the karmic board. There's 3. It could be that Saint Germain is a member of the karmic board. He's purple. And so what was the other one? White?
It was blue.
Blue. Okay, so could be Saint Michael, could be, somebody else related.
Because I was thinking that the pink was Lady Nada, the blue was Mary, and then there was another feminine in there, but maybe it wasn't.
I got it. Yeah. Well, again, meditate on it and
Okay.
just ask them, ask your guides, who was that? What did I see? What did they represent? And let us know next time.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Great, Hall. Great to see you.
You
And
too.
I'll see you afterwards because I do the channeling after this at 2:00. So I'll be seeing some of you on the channeling class. So anyway, just lovely to be here. Lovely to have you and your attention and because I know every person that shows up uh, is able to take bits and pieces of this and get to um, and raise the elevation of the vibration of everywhere they go, everybody they talk to, every place they everything they touch. So every time you partake in any kind of spiritual type of lesson like this, your vibration goes up quite a bit. So anyway, all right, we will see you all next month, if not sooner.